Hello, what is up guys? Today we'll be doing a video on another league race actually, but this time it's not on WR. This time it's on ERO, European Races Organization for short. Well, actually that's the full name for the thing. This is tier 3, the lowest tier obviously because I am fucking noob. That does not matter, this is going to my flying lap where I actually blocked the Williams because, yeah. I have, I guess, the IQ of a fucking moose, so I blocked a car that was on its flyer. Anyway, this is actually my only run that I could get in that was actually clean. Every other run I was blocked, potentially on purpose, but I don't know, I'm not gonna accuse anyone of anything because I don't want to get in further trouble. But it may have happened, I don't know. But that's not the point. Here, I haven't really been commenting on the lap, so on the exit in 4th, I don't really shift up into 5th on the exit of this corner. A lot of people do because of traction, but I didn't really find it a problem. Here downshift into 6th and try to hug the inside as much as you can, but that was not ideal. Here just a lift, hug the inside but don't touch the curb, brake at the 50 here, touch the inside curb a bit, it's not really a problem. 4th on the exit, here downshift again into 4th and try to hold in 4th in qualifying. In the race you may shift into 5th for a bit more consistency. Then DRS down, then about in between the 150 you start braking, and downshift, I personally downshift into 3rd, you can downshift down into 4th only if you want to, exit in 4th, here I downshift into 5th, and then I go and upshift into 6th, normally no early shifting or anything like that. Some people keep it in 6th, some even downshift to 4th, I don't really do that, that's actually for PTO at the time, of course. Ended up going down, I decided to go out again, and here, actually I don't think that was on purpose because it was two newbies. Here I was going on my flying lap and this Bjorn Rasmussen guy, he basically just stood on the apex. He basically did what I did, to the Williams before. So yeah, yeah, I apologized to the Williams after the qualifying session. I was like, I'm sorry I blocked you. So I tried going with this lap anyways to see if I can improve. Couldn't. I did regain a 10th throughout the lap, but I could have probably improved a bit, but it didn't happen. So here's another lap that I tried doing. This actually, again, I think the guy who ended up blocking was actually again a new guy. This was actually his first race, I think. Bjorn was not first race, so I'm not really, I don't know. This guy was also his first race, like me. So here, as going into the bank corner, I forget what these are called always. I have problems with names. I'm actually down on my time, which is a bit strange, considering this was later in the qualifying session. Here I gained a bit of time, because somehow I took a slightly better line. Here, much better line, 6/10 up, but here, he's basically on my apex, so I couldn't really hit it. I went wide and I had a bit of a moment. And yeah, that was my qualifying session over. I could not be bothered, so I just said retire from session. I just could not be asked me. And so that's what I did. So I decided to just sit it out. And then in the end I was P7, which was actually pretty good considering I only had one run. And it was at the beginning of qualifying. My teammate only just beat me, so who is a full-timer, so that's pretty nice. So let's get into the sprint. Obviously, simple strategy, mediums, like 12 laps. Not much to say. Here though, I had a pretty abysmal launch in both the sprint and the race. So the tires gripped up supposedly. Then I shifted into 5th, I used my ERS and then I get so much wheel spin. Then here I did this, I hit Mitchell in front of me, which was not very smart, and then I also got hit from behind. Yeah, I guess you could say it was a very good start to the sprint. Not really, no. So at the end of this lap I went into the pits, obviously, because, well, I'm not gonna be driving with a broken front wing, you know. So I went into the pits. Mitch actually retired in the pit lane. He reported me later, and I got a penalty for the sprint. So yeah, I got a 5-second penalty in the sprint, which means that you're gonna see at the end. I think I finished P8 on track by like a few thousandths in front of Bjorn Rasmussen. Of course, because of the penalty that I got, I was demoted. Thankfully, the other guy behind me was 5.0 something seconds behind me, so I actually kept another position by just a few thousandths, which was pretty funny to be fair. Anyway, not much actually happened here, obviously. Pretty boring, not really much to say at this point of the race. Lap 2, it wasn't until lap 8 where Mitchell, I think it is. Yeah, Mitchell. No, not Mitchell. Not one of the alphas. I don't know which one though. I don't know his real name, that is. I didn't check. Spun out, crashed out and caused a safety car. However, I couldn't catch up to the pack by the time the safety car resumed, which is pretty funny. So I was basically constantly pushing under the safety car period, so at least my tires were warm. Other people's tires probably weren't that warm, so at least there was one positive from this. Anyway, I was like, let me try to at least catch Bjorn in front of me, because I thought I may be able to do something. Turns out I was able to do something. He was actually kind of keeping pace with me on this lap, lap 11. He's losing time here, but he was actually gaining a bit of time on some of the other parts of the track, so that was alright. That's why by lap 12 I think the 1.4 seconds in front of me. And I'm catching him a lot. I guess he had a problem maybe at this point. Maybe he just wasn't having the best of time. And yeah, I really caught him in this section. This is where I caught him as well on the previous lap, but then he just, for whatever reason, he just pulled away in sector 3. I don't know why. As you're gonna see, it didn't really happen this lap though, because I got a really good chicane here. Third, I was basically flying. I was basically in qualifying mode on this chicane. At the time I thought I was fighting for this position. Now, look at this. So, I have pretty much full ERS I mean. He has literally none because he's flashing. I'm like, okay, this is my chance. I go on the inside, he hits me a tiny bit. And we're separated by 24 thousandths. In the end, that Martin Belak guy and behind me, 5 seconds and 31 thousandths. I was literally ahead of him by 31 thousandths after my penalty. So yeah, I didn't get this point here in the sprint, which is fine. What matters is that I started from 8th, right next to my teammate. As for strat, as you can tell, I'm on the softs. Why? Because the game shafted me, it didn't give me the mediums for some reason. It didn't allow me to put on the mediums for the race start. And I once again had an absolutely horrendous start for whatever reason. I just had so much wheel spin, I don't get it. So I was down into P10 after starting P8, which was not the greatest way to start the race. Here the McLaren tries to do something on the outside. I get hit also by Mitchell on the outside, which is not very nice. He was trying to go for the move while the McLaren was pushing me on the outside. I couldn't really do much there. I think he realized that as well. Here the Williams, I don't know who that was again. I didn't see. He spun. I was backing up into P10. I was actually down to E11 actually for a second, but yeah, back up to 10th. I want to go for a move on the McLaren, but I don't know if I hit him. I'm sorry. I don't think I did though. It didn't seem like I hit him. It seemed like I'm really close. It seemed like if I did hit him, it was netcode and not actually me hitting him, which does happen. I was actually spun out a few times online by people who just had a netcode moment. It wasn't supposed to be a hit, but they still somehow hit me, which doesn't make sense. That's like iRacing moment. Anyway, at this point, not much happened after this, to be fair, until lap 3, basically. Here I was like, but for now, Hauke Maoling, he's actually leading the race. He's gonna come very important later in the race, for me at least. I was thinking of trying to go for a move on Marek Ivanek in front of me, however I was like, nah, that's too risky. So I decided to stick behind him for a bit. Here on the end of this lap I was gonna go for the move and then safety car. Basically the moment I was gonna do something, safety car. Which was annoying. However, here I had a dilemma. Do I pit? I was like, yeah, fuck this, I'm pitting, obviously. Pitting for the hards. Because I had to pit in like fucking... I had to pit in like 5 laps anyways. Since the safety guy was gonna come in lap 6, I was basically pitting like 2 laps early. This was basically a free pit stop for me. So I decided that it was actually a smarter idea to pit. Now in front of me, as you can tell, there are some guys on the mediums. Now Bjorn Rasmussen actually crashed out under the safety car, which is pretty sad for him, but what can you do? That shit just happens. But anyway, this meant I was P9 now. One position down on where I started. And I was thinking, okay, this is probably gonna be a okay result, like P6 or something like that, maybe. Here, whoever there was on the safety car restarting was Hauke Maling again. Yeah, it was Hauke. He was being a bit of an annoyance. Look at how much he was holding everybody up to the start of the race. Actually, this actually allowed Jakub to pass me on the inside, which was very dumb. Because that definitely was not the idea. He even passed the McLaren in front of me. However, as you're gonna see in a second, he didn't have the best of time. He had a McLaren. He again wanted to try and do something, but it didn't really work. Then Mitchell on the inside. There you go. Jakub just spun there. And now Mitchell is on my inside there, then my outside. It was pretty obvious he was not gonna get past me. And then the McLaren spun as well, so I was up into P8 where I started, which is very nice. And now, at this point, not much actually happened after this, to be fair, for a bit, because, well, not much action was happening. I was both too close enough and not close enough to pass Bakalik in front of me. There was some drama at the back, which almost brought out another safety car, but wasn't the time yet. It was between an Alfa Romeo, I think the same guy who retired in the sprint, and also the other McLaren that I was talking about, because Adam Shostik is behind Mitchell, so definitely was the other McLaren. And at this point I was basically thinking, okay, let me try, I want to try to see if I can at least pass Bakalik in front of me. In the meantime, Mitchell behind me spun, which was very nice. This king is not very nice, but still. He spun. Here Bakalik actually making a few mistakes on the mediums, which is pretty good for me because I was on the hards. And the medium runners making a bunch of mistakes is great for me because this means I am in a much better position with my useless cards. Well, until I did that, then that kind of ruined my advantage, or whatever advantage I did gain. That was a bit strange on the traction. I guess I went a bit too early. Then on lap 9 though, I caught up again because they were fighting the AlphaTauri and Bakalik. Then we have another safety car because this time Mitchell spun out and crashed into the wall, which is not ideal. So we had another safety car until like lap 11, I think. I obviously stayed out. I'm not gonna pit again for no reason. I'm pitting again. So yeah, here onto the safety car restart. I was 6th now because a few people did pit because they were on mediums. I'm guessing they went on the hards. But yeah, I was now 6th and was trying to keep up with both the AlphaTauri and the Bakalik, and also trying to defend from Jakub behind me because I knew he was gonna go for a move. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna defend from you. I'm not gonna let you get past me. And I was able to do that for a few laps. Here on lap 14, not much happened in the last few laps. I was still keeping up fairly well with Bakalik. However, here he makes a fatal mistake, as you're gonna see. I'm guessing he contacted Mattia Binotto for a second because he did a big spinala. And now in front of me was Marek Ivanek again. He was also on the hards. I think they were also pretty old hards. And I was like, okay, let me try to catch up to Marek. And potentially go for a move. And about, I think 2 laps later I did. I mean, I'm gonna see right now. Yeah, it was about 2 laps later, I think, on lap 16. Obviously I was pushing a lot. I didn't have DRS here, which was definitely not ideal, but neither did Jakub behind me, so at least we were pretty even in this regard. Of course, by lap 16 I think it was. Yeah, lap 16 I had caught up to him, but so did Jakub to me, so that was not very ideal, but still, this shit happens, doesn't matter too much. Anyway, here I have DRS. I wanted to go for the move, obviously, however I had no ERS, and for some reason Marek had basically the same straight line speed as me, whilst I had DRS. That did not make any sense to me. Klap behind me got the fastest lap. Here I was trying to force a mistake from Marek, however it wasn't really working, as you can tell. He was being pretty resilient, so yeah, that's good to know. Also, if you guys have been paying any attention to the positions, I'm now 4th, so that's pretty nice. However, here that's quickly going to change because I actually made a few mistakes. First, it's actually the first mistake I make that you're gonna see right now over here. Going to this braking zone, I locked up a little bit. Not too bad, but I still locked up, which did give Jakub a bit of a look. And then here on the next lap, going into this section, I did an even bigger lockup. And in this case, Jakub was able to get ahead of me because I just didn't have the speed to keep up. I wanted to go for the move, but it was just there was not enough space, bruv. So I decided to just bide my time and stay behind him, possibly try to pass him later in the race. That, of course, would never work out because, well, I mean, we're basically the same pace, the two of us. So I was instead just trying to just keep up with him for as long as I could. Then on this lap, Marek decides to pit. I think he retires actually. And also Hoy in pits. I can't remember his first name. So now it was Adam Lapage and Jakub in front of me. They were both also on the cars that are about as old as mine. Now, interestingly enough, at this point, a strategy that was an idea that I had at this point was considering I had behind me Hauke, who is also on the hards. I was hoping that no, these guys in front of me I knew were definitely going to pit because they wouldn't have the balls to do this. Which you're gonna see on this lap, lap 23. Jakub and Adam both pit for I think the mediums. I can't remember right now. Yeah, I think they pit for the mediums. Yeah, they did. That's what they pit for. Yeah. So from this point onwards, I was thinking I was staying out on these cards to the end because I've already made my mandatory pit stop and I have nothing to lose because this is my first race, so I might as well fucking try this. And I was hoping because Hauke, I could see he was defending a lot because he kept the lead for pretty much the entirety of the first part of the race. So I was like, okay, this guy can definitely defend, so I'm gonna try and use him as my fucking mobile chicane so I can try and win this race in the dumbest fashion you've ever seen. So as you can tell here, lap 31, here's actually when Hauke actually got passed finally by Hoy on the mediums. Hoy was 10 seconds behind. Now the idea that I had was basically there were 5 laps till the end of the race. The only way that Hoy could even pass me is if he was more than 2 seconds faster than me every lap, and I knew for a fact he was not 2 seconds faster than me, at least at that point. I think he was at most a second faster, so I knew I had time till the end of the race, which was good. However, I carried myself a bit away at this point here, and as you're gonna see, I made a minor mistake. By minor mistake I mean I nearly spun, as you can see here. I shut my pants at the time. I was super afraid that I was gonna actually crash out and lose this first race win. Of course I did not crash out, thankfully, but it was looking possible, unfortunately. So yeah, that was the only action that actually happened here. I'm instead going to basically skip over in a second to lap 35 or 34. No, 35. The end of lap 34. Going to the last 2 laps of the race because I just want to give you sort of a breakdown into my thought process, because let's get 8.4 seconds from Hoy on lap 34 and now 35 actually, 4.8. So he has made up about 3 point something seconds in about how many? 4 laps. In about 4 laps, 4 laps, he's made up only about 4 seconds. So he's made up only about a second a lap. So I was very confident I'm probably gonna win this, despite the small mistake. Just look at how little of a gap he was actually shrinking. But on the final lap especially, he shrunk the gap a lot more, but that was a bit too late, I guess you could say. He was being even a bit more careful, especially on the exit of the bank corner. If you saw on this lap, I nearly spun. And also on the banked corner before the main straight, I was not even going flat out. Not because I couldn't, I think I could have, but I just wasn't risking it, you know. I was trying really hard not to have a fucking problem at this point. Ask it pretty much perfect. Like, that was definitely helping me take the race win. I'm sorry for hitting the mic. Yeah. I was basically really going for this race win, because I knew I had it. I had the race win in my palms. What that mattered at this point, we're just getting over the finish line. That's the only thing that mattered. So that's what I was aiming for, obviously. And so, going to the final lap, only 2.8 seconds behind, he makes up about... how many seconds does he make? I think it was about exactly 3 seconds at the start of the lap. He was about 1.3 behind, so he made up about 1.7, almost 2 seconds made up in the final lap. If he was making up about that much of a gap from lap 31 onwards, he would have overtaken me probably. but he didn't. He started gaining that time a bit too late. So in the end, I was able to win. Now, of course, I was looking still at the delta and I was like, fuck me, he's catching so much, bruv. I was losing all my time in the exits, actually. In the actual apexes of the corner, he wasn't really catching me, interestingly enough. Like here, I was losing all of my time on the exit. I had a small... I guess I was not very fast. He also had a good exit out of the previous corner. However, going into here, and the bank, I lifted slightly, but that did not matter because I am coming across the finish line to win the race. Turns out he actually made up almost 2 seconds on the lap, so that was insane. He probably would have overtaken me on this lap. If there's another lap, he probably would have overtaken me. However, I don't care. This was my first league race win in a way that I did not even think was possible. However, that's not the point. The point is, I made it work. So it was me, then Hoy behind, no, yeah, Hoy behind me. I got confused for a second, and also Hauke, whom actually didn't get many penalties because people didn't report them properly, funnily enough, which was pretty funny. But yeah, my first race win. Absolutely insane. I still don't know what to say because this was just such a crazy race win. Like, you did not expect that to happen that way. It's also awesome to see the Bulgarian flag on the podium. That is like exactly what I dream of seeing, like the Bulgarian flag on the podium. But yeah, that's it. So, like, there's not much more to say, to be honest, because this is insane. This race was insane. It was next level for me. Pretty much the most risky strategy I could have had for this race. And I'd say I actually pulled it off to perfection, which is insane. But yeah, that's it for this league racing video. I'm gonna be coming out with the video on WR around Portugal in like 1 or 2 days. So I guess I'll see you then. Bye.